What's happening, peoples? Welcome to the Armchair Pundits Arsenal post-match review show with me, Bevan. And today we have Arsenal 2, Everton 0. And I know that there are some people out there that were hoping that that was going to be a 0-0 game and were ready to write Arsenal season off and say that we're bottling it. I was going to get photos and emojis and text messages of bottles and saying that we were throwing it away. I'm just going to get straight into it. Now, admittedly, when I watched that game, I was looking at the first half. For the first 15 minutes, I was thinking, you know what? We're actually playing forward passes. We're actually trying to we're trying to actually play through Everton, who were set up to be very difficult to beat. Wasn't really coming to much. We had a couple of shots, but Pickford didn't really have any saves to make. But I saw something that I hadn't seen in recent weeks where we were actually trying things in attack and we were actually taking risks with some of the passes. And, you know, it was fine margins why we weren't getting them. But then after the first 15 minutes, and get into the game. From one of the earliest attacks, cross comes in, they have a shot, and like Calafiori's on the floor, and he's managed to pick his legs up and block the shot from going in from McNeil, and that's very early on in the game. And then not too long after that, McNeil has another shot, and it hits the post, comes back out, Njai but it goes the other side of the post. And I mentioned on my last match review that about luck, and that sometimes you need a bit of luck when you're going to go for a title, when you're going to win. And in that moment, our luck was in. So we go into halftime at 0-0. Now, bearing in mind that this match reaction could have been very different, and we could have been talking about a first half penalty that we should have got, and it looked like VAR looked at it for like 2 seconds and decided that it wasn't a penalty, when it's clear that Havertz gets stepped on, his foot gets stepped on, so Keane steps on his foot. So you're thinking, what's going on there? But we're not going to get into that, because, as I said, it would be a different post-match reaction that we're having. We're talking about missed chances. We were talking about not being threatening enough. Because, as I said, even though we was on top at moments in that first half, we didn't really force Pickford into any difficult saves. There wasn't really much that he had to do that it wasn't very testing for him. A lot of the shots were going wide. There was no real big chances from us. And the set pieces weren't really effective, and I think that Everton have conceded the least amount of set piece goals away from home, and it showed. Now, when we get into the second half, again, there wasn't really much for Raya to do either, but he still has to come up and make a big save from Beto. So when I say a big save, it's a save that stops the game from being 1-0. Beto is in the box, turns, shoots, low down, Raya saves with his feet. Now, I can talk about Arsenal in attack, but Everton were very resolute in defence. They were very difficult to break down. Kind of had the banks, like 2 banks of 4. Sometimes they go into a bank of 5. And as we know, that Everton can be a very physical side. So give credit to Arteta. 61 minutes, he makes some changes. He takes off Havertz. He takes off Madueke, and he brings on Gabby Martinelli, and he brings on Gyökeres. Now, again, we're kind of huffing and puffing, having a few shots, but it's not a lot is really troubling Pickford. I mean, Eze has a great shot, goes just past the post, and you're thinking it's going to have to be a moment of magic or a moment of brilliance that is going to change the game. It's going to give us the points that we need, or we're going to be talking about missed chances. We're going to be talking about a lack of attack and problems with the attack being disjointed, which we have seen in some games. We saw it against Forest, we saw it against Liverpool, and this is looking like another match like that. But then again, Arteta makes a substitution that again is very brave because he takes off Zubimendi, which means that Rice goes into like a single pivot in midfield, and then he has Eze playing as 110, and then he's got Saka playing as another 10, and then he puts Dowman onto the right. And that was a masterstroke because Dowman came onto that pitch and had no fear. He's taking the ball, he's driving at players, he's trying to attack, he's trying to get things going, he's trying to get things moving. And in the 89th minute, after a crossfield pass from Gabriel to Mosquera, we drive down the pitch, gets given to Max Dowman. He tries to beat a player, doesn't quite work out, goes for a throw in, gets played back to him. Now he gets a bit of space, takes a touch, whips a cross into the penalty box towards the back stick. Pickford makes a mistake and comes to claim the ball, gets fingertips on it, but it falls to Nkapie, and who knows as little about it as possible, and it just rolls right to Gyökeres, and he's there to tap it in. It seems the crowd's going wild. I'm going crazy. I'm thinking to myself, like, this team can't keep doing this to me. The stress levels are through the roof. It's been 22 years since I've seen my team win a title, and I just want it to get over the line. And I've been talking about in games needing to have a bit of luck. And in this instance, we've created our own luck. It's been created by the decisions that Arteta's made, by the cross that Dowman's put in. Putting that into the mixer has forced an error, and that error has led to the goal. It's dropped to Nkapie, Gyökeres is there to tap it in. And he's now on 11 goals for the season, which isn't a bad return, especially if this is going to bring us the league. Scoring 89th minute, you're still a bit nervous because we've seen us give goals away in the last minutes of games like we did at Wolves, and you're just thinking, you just want to get it to be over, just get it over and done with, see the game out, leave 1-0 unscathed, and then we go on to the next one, we move and we go again. But it happens, Everton get a corner, Gyökeres wins the header, gets flicked onto Martinelli, who then nods it to Max Dowman. He has the awareness to nod the ball down around Mykolenko. Does a little bit of jinky. Beats Drewsbury Hall, who falls on the pitch, and he's running through on goal with an open goal to tap in to become the youngest goal scorer in the Premier League at 16 years old and 73 days. And this seems like a moment where Arsenal have got one hand on the Premier League title. It seems like a game where you're going to get a draw, even though a draw is not necessarily a bad result, but we know that we need wins, and we know that a win in this game was going to put pressure on City. City would have to play later, and they're going to have to go to West Ham, and we needed this win to keep up the momentum of what's been happening in recent weeks, where we have picked up points and City have dropped points. And this put us in prime position to do that. And by scoring when we did, instead of talking about missed penalties, missed chances, disjointed attacks, we're now talking about getting results in tight moments in difficult games when they're looking unlikely, and we're edging ever more closer to this Premier League title. There's going to be a couple more games. We've got Bournemouth next, and then we play City. But we got City in the cup before that. But in terms of the league, it's Bournemouth next, and then it's City. We're going to take this one game at a time. We need to roll back into that Bournemouth game, get a win, and then we can move forward. But to me, it's games like this where you think Is this the game that would mean that we've won the league? That this is the game that has caused things to change in our favour? Is this the week? We did our job. It wasn't saying plain sailing, but I don't think it's ever been plain sailing. It feels like something has shifted. We're this close to winning the league if we just keep up momentum, keep things ticking, keep battling, keep fighting, and have moments where we're just going to have to make our own luck and be brave. Because, as I said earlier, in that game, there were some brave moments from Arteta for the substitutions that he's made. And Max Dowman himself came on the pitch, changed the game, and showed moments of bravery by putting in that cross and by scoring his goal. So, yeah, we are now 9 points clear. We've got 7 games to go, and we're waiting in anticipation for this league. I think that we don't play in the league for a little while. We've got the cups, and I think there's a break, so we've got a little bit more time before we have to go again in the league. But we are in a fantastic position to claim this league and to get our first Premier League for over 22 years. I'm Bevan. This is the Armchair Pundits Arsenal Review Show. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Give me your thoughts. Tell me how you saw it. And let me know, do you think that this is the weekend that shows that Arsenal are going to win the league? Or is it too close to call? Is it too soon to call it? Put your comments down below. Catch you on the next one. See you later. Peace.